Well, that's one big story today. The incredible images tell it. Across Colorado, the power.
Evening, Durham.
Hey, evening, guys. How are y'all doing?
Hey, Durham.
Great. Now that you're here, we were afraid we were going to have to dance for half an hour.
Yeah.
It was not going to be pretty.
No. Hopefully we'll have a little bit more conversation this week. We'll see.
We went to see this movie, Don't Look Up, last night with Meryl Streep, or yesterday. It is totally off the wall.
Don't look up. Oh, astronomy based. That's cool. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, it's a real parody on the whole effect of social media on politics, and she plays a kind of a vappish president who doesn't seem to understand the importance of this information about this comet that's going to hit Earth that Leonardo DiCaprio's character advises her of, and it's wild. Kind of a sad commentary.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right, it is 6 o'clock here. Just a few people. Looks like you guys and Fred and John in here. Appreciate everyone being here. Let's see. Probably save the intro here for just a minute, but start going through some things here.
You'll be preaching to the choir.
Yeah, yeah. Looking at some news for the looking at you, and then Mark, and then was also looking at the RM Ham group was given the amateur radio digital communications gave a grant for more microwave network links for the RM Ham group.
Yeah,
so that'll be kind of cool.
Yeah, they got quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
They have to spend it by next December, by December 2022.
Oh, is that from? Oh, interesting. Okay. Wow.
I think they will. At least that's what.
Oh, I'd imagine so. Yeah.
They're not going to have a problem spending it.
No. Fairly sure our presenter is going to be here this evening, Marcel. He's already put up on his QRZ. He put up the presentation that he's actually giving for this evening, and it's labeled with DRC. So I have a feeling that he's not going to miss out like we had last week. So hopefully we should be good on that. You messaged me last month. Did you happen to get my message back about the YouTube, Mark?
Me? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah, we'll need to get together after the first of the year and see what we need to do.
Yep. Kicking and screaming, one way or the other. We'll drag this club into the 21st century.
Yeah. My conditioner on my UPS is clicking like crazy. I must have some crazy power coming in. There must be still some wind out there. I didn't lose any antennas.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Oh, Marcel, the presenter for tonight, he actually, I was looking at his QRZ, he actually helped out with the exam tools, the hamstudy.org, and get that stuff set up. I didn't realize he had helped with that, so that's kind of cool as well.
That's cool.
That. Yeah. See, Ask Dave here. Looks like a new learn.arl.g.
Is that the guy? That's not the guy. That's
Dave
right?
Kessler. Oh no.
Dave's out of New Mexico.
He's out of Colorado. No, he's southern.
Oh, is he in Colorado? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I met him in New Mexico. He was down at S.t.e.m Fest down there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just a few people here on the call again, everybody. Thanks for joining. This was just a Elmer session, just a general get-together, Q&A about ham radio, STEM topics. So if you have any questions, comments, or anything, let us know. See if a few more people join here, but this is 45 minutes long or so, and then at 7 we'll have our presentation. So I'll try to bring up some things if nobody has anything, but if anybody has any projects or questions or anything they're working on, let us know. Yeah, that wind was nuts. I'm surprised none of the antennas had any issue there. Yeah.
I took down some of my verticals, my ground verticals, just to be safe.
Okay.
Lowered the tower. And
yeah.
I think everything is still... Well, actually, I haven't looked. I better go look. Who knows what's out there now?
Yeah. We got a lot of. I live in Englewood. We have a lot of older dry trees, so just these large limbs will just really break off really easily. It's a real pain. But
yeah, I was telling Jeff I lost a aspen tree. It fell down.
Oh, geez. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was going. I was going to have to cut it down eventually, but I don't know. It's down on the ground now.
Yeah. What else did I have bookmarked here? Smallest moon lander from Japan will put ham radio transmitter on the moon.
Yeah, that one is they're going to have an orbiting, it's a two-part. They're going to have an orbiting module and a probe that goes down to the moon. But because they don't have all the receive sites, I think, if that's the right one, they're asking for amateur radio help. They're using PSK31, I believe.
Yeah, that looks like the same one here. Said radio amateurs can play a role in gathering data from the spacecraft. Yeah, PSK31.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you hear it, they want you to gather it and then send it in or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, we don't hear much about the JAXA, the Japanese or the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, and we don't hear too much about amateur radio from out there. But I'd imagine amateur radio is huge in Japan. We just don't see too much of it.
Oh.
I know there's just a lot of like YouTubers based in Japan and doing stuff there, and they have like a Japanese teaching program. A lot of English teachers go over there, and just I need to see more of that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to be. I haven't seen it. I just heard about it recently, but it's supposedly a pretty small little device, and it's running 70 centimeter, I think.
Yeah, it is. It looks like it's 70 centimeter.
Okay.
437 megahertz. Yeah. 1 watt for their transmitter.
Yep.
That's crazy.
So apparently the probe sends the signal up to the orbiting
Oh, okay. That would make more
satellite,
sense.
and then it
Okay, and
boosts
then it
it up.
relays it. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, the advent of CubeSats and microsats and all these smaller satellites, it's definitely made much easier barrier to entry to get something up into the sky, but we certainly now have a lot of stuff up there. That's for sure. I don't have too much. I've been pretty busy at work here recently, but what else can we dig up here? Again, everyone, welcome to this Elmer session. You're more than welcome to jump in on the chat if you have any questions or comments, or put any questions or things into the chat. I'm showing my screen, and if you have any questions, let us know, and go from there. We have another 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, N0TRP here, Jim, with a comment.
Hey, Jim. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I just don't have a camera on his computer, and the mic's a little iffy, so just wondered if you could hear me. Just heard something the other day from him down in New Mexico, KJ5KL, a relative or next door neighbor to one of my relatives down there. But he's saying that he said they've had real good success with a ground loop antenna, or no, that's the wrong terminology. A quad loop antenna just laid out on the ground for receive only. So they say it cuts way down on the noise. Of course, the signal strength is less, but the noise is way less, so you end up being able to hear better. Of course, then you can't transmit on it. You got to have some up here to transmit on. Has anybody heard of that? Does that make sense?
See if anyone else wants to jump in. So, when you said quad loop on the ground, the first thing I thought of was that's a receive antenna. So that's the only thing I've ever heard about it. I've never played with one, but that's how you described it is exactly how I understand it.
Yeah,
And that's the extent of my knowledge. I don't know, maybe someone else on here might be able to help.
Okay.
I was just curious.
Yeah, no, I had not heard of a quad loop antenna. Just some Googling of it seems to also bring up loop loop antenna, but receive only as well, or magnetic.
That's a mag loop.
Mag
Look for
loop, yeah.
something like ground loop or something like that, or
Yeah, this would be a long wire. A lot of wire just laid out in a big loop square on the ground around your house or something.
Looks like loop on ground antennas potentially, maybe. Let's see, antennas. Let's see. Yeah, I'd have to read through this, but yeah, that seems like an interesting antenna. And then what bands does that receive? Is that HF? Shortwave?
Yeah, HF, right.
Okay.
Yeah, be just HF.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be interesting to have an antenna just for, I guess, receive only and HF specifically, and be able to have a transmit antenna that you can kind of play around with and have separate from that. So no, I had not heard of that. Yeah.
Of course, you'd have to have another rig for a transmit, or else have a switch.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And if you don't have a disconnect switch on it, you could get into the near field of a transmitting antenna. So you'd have to have like a relay disconnect on there as well, or have it way far away.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check into that and read up a little bit more on that. Okay. We got Bob, WA4MBG, checking out on YouTube. Appreciate that, Bob, from Florida. Anyone else on that, on a ground loop antenna, receive only? Anybody have any knowledge or experience with that? Go ahead. All sorts of antennas. So yeah, learn a new antenna every week. It seems like. Okay.
A0JK, have you got a copy, Daron?
Hey, Fred. Yep, we can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay, fumbling around with wires here. Anyhow, how does that compare with the beverage antenna? Now, just a long section of wire laid out there. For receive only, you'll see articles on beverage antennas. Now, how does this compare with whether it's just laid out straight or whether it's in a loop? Are they the same thing? Question mark, question mark.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking this quad loop antenna on the ground is actually laid right out on the ground, not up in the air at all. And I was thinking beverage antennas are up just a little bit, but I can't remember how far up those go.
The ones I've seen are practically right up off the ground, just enough so that they don't make contact. But that's why I'm questioning. I just am curious of whether they're the same thing, except for in name. So I would like to hear a little bit more on that also. But the quad configuration, the loop configuration, I would think would be better for eliminating noise than a beverage, which would be strung out to its full length. So anyhow, if you happen to stumble on some more information on that, well, there's a few of us out here would like to know. Thank you.
Yeah, will do. I don't haven't had any experience with it. Just a tidbit I picked up over the Thanksgiving holiday. So have some experimenting to do.
That's what ham radio is all about. Thank you.
Very quickly skimming over this article by Kilo Golf 3 Victor. First natural choice for receive antennas seemed to be a beverage. For optimal performance, it's 160 meters. These ideally need to be over 400 feet in length. That was never happening at that location. They discovered the beverage on ground. Putting a beverage on the ground theoretically allows the use of a much shorter antenna than the more common beverage, mounted about 7 feet above the ground. Let's see. Doing some reading, they discovered an article on loop on ground. Let's see. What does he say? They can be the loop on ground can be loop of any shape. Says a square with 15 feet of length on each of the four sides will work 160 meters. They don't need any ground system, no rods, no radials. Still provides safety ground, but apparently that's potentially some of the differences there. Yeah. Okay. Let's see if I can bring up anything else here. Oh, this is the same article that I was looking at there. Okay. Yeah, it seems like there is some commonality potentially between a beverage antenna and loop on ground. But the loop provides some better, or no grounding needed, less wire it looks like. But I'm not too sure. All right, yeah, good question there, TRP. Thanks for the follow-up there, Fred. Anyone else so far about anything we've spoken about so far this evening? This is the Elmer session, just a general Q&A about ham radio, electronics, s.t.e.m, STEAM. I'm showing my screen here about kind of things we're talking about, so if you have any questions, let us know. Feel free to jump into the chat or to the voice. Let's see what else we got here. We have another 40 minutes or so, and we'll have our presentation by Marcel, AI6MS. Everything you need to know about lithium batteries, so stick around for that. What else here? Always good information over on a blog, hackaday.com. Great articles to read about electronics, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, all sorts of projects and things they got going on there. Let's see if they have anything about ham radio here recently. Not seeing anything immediate, but let's see. Another great blog, RTL-SDR, if you have any interest in software-defined radio and projects like that. Some newer articles here. We don't really speak, I don't bring it up too much. I've spoken about it once or twice, but there's this company, Great Scott Gadgets. They're actually based here in Colorado. And they produce the HackRF 1, which is a software-defined transceiver, pretty popular, and so they do make that. So they recently released just an article about testing clones. People have access to the software and the hardware to clone these products, and so they kind of just make a comparison between the official and some clones, and checking the transmit power and the receive signal power and things like that. So they're just comparing an official product versus clones. So looks like it's there's a bit of a difference, but so there's some cheaper options out there potentially. Another article here. Video that introduces scattering parameters, also known as S parameters, and how these parameters relate to antennas and RF networks. S parameters are a matrix of values that can be used to describe an electrical network. Their video explains these parameters in detail, giving good visual examples. Topics they cover is what is a network, or what is network, power waves, complex impedance and phase angle, S matrix and S parameters, reflection and transmission coefficients, standing waves, example networks, designating S parameters, reciprocity and losslessness, and reflection coefficient and VSWR. So everything that we definitely speak about quite a lot. Let me see if I can play a couple minutes of this, or a few seconds of this here.
Characterization of RF networks and how radio frequency boxes, regardless of how complicated the underlying circuitry is. Suppose we excite a power wave of some frequency at port 1.
I think that's coming up to the Google Meet, sorry. Yeah, be pretty interesting video here to check out. A visual introduction to scattering parameters. So if you ever wanted some better follow-up of how these things work and what goes into this, looks like it's a pretty good video here. Let's see, maybe I can make that come out here.
But why does the energy on the left appear to oscillate instead of simply traveling backwards?
All right.
To proper
What else here? Yeah, don't hesitate to jump in if you have any comments, questions. This isn't a net. You don't have to be a ham radio operator, but talk about electronics, STEM, STEAM. Feel free to let us know if you have any questions. We have another half hour or so for this Elmer session here. What else were we looking at here? Great site to visit, Tindie, Tindie.com. Very much like Etsy, if you ever heard of ETSY.com, a marketplace where people can make and make their and sell their own things. Tindie, similar marketplace, but for electronics kits and everything that you'd want to look at and buy. So, holiday related is a Christmas tree, little kits. $5-10 for a little like a soldering kit for yourself or your family, family, friends. Some fun practice and some LEDs and pretty cheap and fun thing to do. They have some menorahs and things like that. So a lot of fun to browse this market. Not just for that stuff, but just for kits and all sorts of stuff you can buy, and kind of just a fun place to browse and to window shop a little bit. Please don't hesitate to jump in at any given time. This meeting or this is for all of us. If you have any questions, this is a great time to ask it, or show and tell. If you have any projects you're working on, more than happy to check those out. So let us know. We were briefly looking at it earlier. A video by Dave Kassler, KE0OG, one of his more recent videos, speaking about ARL's new learn.arl.org website. So looks like it's another good resource to check out. So learn.arl.org. Let's check that out, see what they have going on here. Online courses from ARL provide ARL members with additional instruction and training for getting on the air, emergency communications, and electronics and technologies. This place, you can get active, you can take online courses, use coursework and resources to improve your knowledge, and put what you learn to work with help from the ARL community. So on the air, emergency communications, electronics, looks like they have kind of a track for some educational resources apart from what they already have. So looks like it's courses, podcasts, books and publications, videos. So probably just a way to kind of more better organize what all they're putting out together right now. So pretty cool. Thanks again, everyone, for joining. About 10, 11 people here in the chat. Appreciate that. I hadn't mentioned it yet this time, but we do stream and archive our nets and meetings on YouTube unofficially right now through my YouTube channel. But if you search on YouTube for our club's call sign, Whiskey Zero Tango X-Ray, W0TX, you can actually watch this on a smartphone, smart TV, anything you have YouTube on, and you can watch it after facts for this Elmer session and the upcoming meeting this evening. So feel free to check that out if you like. Got Jake KG5 PDF checking it online on YouTube. Good evening. Appreciate that.
Hey, Jerome.
Yeah. Hey, go ahead.
Got a quick question, primarily for Fred. I respect Fred quite a bit, and every time he speaks, my ears perk up and I listen quite closely. And this would have gone back to a conversation that he was having with somebody, and I'm a little hard of hearing. This would have been back at the old Taj Mahal. And Fred, you were in a conversation with somebody talking about resonant versus non-resonant antennas and using a 9-to-1 Anand, and you called the non-resonant antenna a compromise antenna. Did I understand that correctly, or did I misunderstand something?
Well, let's see. Not quite sure exactly what all we were talking about, but speaking of resonant and unresonant antennas, I'll just start throwing out a little bit here and see if anything rings a bell there with you. But let's go to the very, very basics, and probably the best antenna there is, and that's your dipole. Okay, with the dipole, when you cut that dipole for a specific frequency, we have a resonant antenna. Now we can feed that with a balanced line, which would be your twin lead. So we've got a balanced antenna and a balanced antenna feed line. We also can feed it with a coax, but the coax is not a balanced feed line. It's unbalanced. And the reason being is that we've got a difference here of the center conductor and a braided outer cover. Those are not balanced, they're not the same. And so a lot of times we want to compensate for that by inserting a what we call a balun. Now this is either a balanced to unbalanced, which is your balun, or if both systems are both sides of your antenna are unbalanced, then you got an un, which we commonly just call a balun. But actually it's a little bit different winding inside. And the other night we had a conversation considering an off-center dipole. Now the off-center dipole, you've got one side of that antenna, sometimes referred to as a windom, which is not balanced because it's only 1/3 of the overall length of the antenna. And then the other half is 2/3 long of the antenna. So these two aren't resonant. So we have to compensate for that. In the case of a windom, a 9-to-1 balun. Now that's compensating for the difference there of the lengths of the two elements. And let's see, and if you change that any, to change the balun or the unun to compensate for the difference in length. And I think the gentleman that we were talking to at the time wasn't quite grasping that. I was talking the windom, and he was trying to experiment with something else that wasn't fed at a 1-to-3 combination there. So have I touched on anything yet?
Yeah, I think so. I think he was talking specifically. I think it was an end-fed, and I guess the question that I had is, would a long wire type antenna like that would be non-resonant, because I think he was trying to get 160 meters. That's why he was going for, a real long wire, but was somewhat limited to not being able to put up a full half wave dipole. But I guess the question is, if you have the opportunity to do a resident antenna over a non-resident antenna with the balun and the unin and everything else, are you always better off just to go with the resident?
Well, yes, of course. But we don't always have that option, like limited in real estate there for being able to stretch out the antenna horizontally and vertically. And like you just mentioned an in-fed. Now there, we've only got half of an antenna there, so to speak. So, we have to compensate somehow there. And we're using a 9-to-1 balun or unun. And we always have to compensate for that unbalance there. But if you've got room for, let's see, who is it out of Washington? AGE, K7 AGE. He, Randy, he's got a real good video there on making a 10-meter antenna. And this is he's doing a balanced dipole, and a very excellent presentation. He shows how to adjust that balanced dipole without cutting it. And heaven forbid anybody tell you that they prune an antenna. They belong in the flower shop, not in ham radio. And what I like is he shows you that you just merely untwist your element and slide that end insulator back and forth until you find your sweet spot, so to speak. There is no cutting of the antenna. And in fact, you should actually make the antenna a little bit longer than your numbers translate out to be, so that you have something to work with. Like with braided wire, it has a tendency to stretch, or you happen to want to change your prominent area in the band to work to bring it down to a more one-to-one resonance. You can just slide your insulators in and out to get that number. But anyhow, fun subject, right? There is fantastic material out there on the internet available to us to try to get into some of these. And another one, you might think him old school, but he used to work for the ARRL. He's an engineer. He's since been retired and moved to the Dakotas. And just remember that his call letters are like Jerry's, only it's W1GV, good vibrations. W1GV, good vibrations. And just change Jerry's call letters from a 0 to a 1. But go in and take a look at those, and he draws it out. He talks the theory. It's very simple to understand. Anything that you want to know about antennas, he's going to have it there on one of his videos. I highly recommend him. But Stan Belisco, I think his first name is Stan. But take advantage of some of his videos, even though he sits there and he draws. He's got just a plaque there that he draws everything all out and explains everything. Excellent presentations. Anyhow, I've rambled off enough now. There he is. There you got him, Daron. That's Stan. Yeah, he's been around a while and worked for the ARRL and does an excellent job of explaining them. Thank you, Daron. Anyhow, let me shut up and see if there's any more questions. Back over to you.
Perfect, Fred. Thank you.
Cool. Very, very cool there, Fred. Yeah, the first thing you'd mentioned, I hadn't really heard of that term, a compromise antenna versus non-compromise. So that's a new term that I've heard this evening. Just reading a comment about that here. I don't know if this is the exact definition, but compromised antenna would be one that you are using a coil, inductor, or capacitor in order to make it shorter than it would otherwise be, therefore losing sensitivity on the antenna, but making it possible to transmit okay anyway. Or go ahead.
Traps. Call those traps. Those coils. They're a coil, an inductor.
Oh, okay. More you know. Very cool.
That way you compromise for not having it stretched completely out to the full length. You put the traps in there to where you can make the antenna short. Antennas though, and I think every antenna is a compromise unless you've got a couple thousand feet of altitude where you can put up lights there to warn aircraft not to fly into your antenna, or you've got 1,000 acres to stretch out your your beverage antenna. Every antenna is going to be a compromise, I think. So anyhow, all kind of depends upon what point they're trying to get across. Back to you, Daron.
All right, perfect. Yeah, it depends on your use case and what scenario you're trying to use it for. And yeah, you might have to you'll make some compromises here or there with something now and again. So yeah, very very good point there. Okay. All right, we have another 20 minutes or so here, about 15 people in the chat. Appreciate everyone being in here. If anybody has any comments, questions about electronics, ham radio, go ahead.
Hey, Jerome, Jerry, good evening
Jerry.
to you.
Hey, good evening.
Hey, just something if somebody's looking for, I'll say cheap. I hope it's inexpensive, but I saw Connect Systems has a dual band HT for $99. And it, I can't speak to it, but let's see, you got their site. They were sending kind of a special thing out, so I get their email. So it may not be on there, but
Okay,
if
gotcha.
you go into just go into their site. But let's see, maybe you'll come up with it. Was that? But yeah, no, that's not it.
Oh, here we go. It's a different website.
Like I say, if you're looking for somebody's looking for they only had a limited number of them, and let's see what you got. But it was $99. I thought, well,
Yeah.
It's a dual bander.
Okay.
That's funny. It's not coming up there,
here
so
we
maybe it's. Oh, there you go. You got it.
RT3S, Redivis. Okay.
Yeah, that
Dual
was.
band DMR.
And I found Connect Systems to be a pretty good dealer. They've got their, I've got a couple of their CS800s, and I got 80 HT. You can actually call and talk to somebody. Easy to deal with. So, giving them a plug for the radio, just the fact that I saw what you see there. So,
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
look out for.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Good option there. $100 to get into VHF, UHF, 2 meter, 70 centimeters. Yep. Hopefully around this time, or during Black Friday, or maybe around this holiday time, you're able to treat yourself or treat a loved one, or vice versa, and get some new equipment out there potentially. So very cool.
One thing about that radio I didn't really look at, but for DMR, but you got to make sure that it transmits. It's got the 2 slots, and not some of those really cheap ones. They have just 1 slot, and they transmit the information on one, and you just can't operate that on our repeater or for sure the RM ham repeater. So, buyer beware.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't realize that some only came with that single slot. Yeah, that would definitely get you if you.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
bad. And I would look at the specs on that one before you
Yeah.
order something.
Very cool. Okay. I guess speaking about DMR, we were speaking about them earlier. Our rmham.org. They have a university class, and it takes place hybrid online and in person. They have one coming up about DMR programming. Or no, this was from December 11th.
Yeah, I went to that one, Jerome. Very good.
Okay.
The next one coming up in January is DMR programming. It's specifically for the Motorola radios and the Kenwood radios. So this was what they called the Chinese radio one, and so the January one is for specifically Motorola and Kenwoods, which probably not too many Kenwoods around, but there's some. But
Okay.
it's a very good. All of their presentations are very good,
Yeah.
and they're free,
Exactly, which is wonderful. Yeah.
and they're streamed, and you can go sit in. You need to make a reservation though. So.
Yep, rmham.org for more info on them. You'll see the RMHAM University right there. They should have a link to their YouTube, I'm sure, but they put one of their last classes on here about MikroTik 101 for basics of routers and internet, things like that. So have a nice banner here of their group there. So yeah, pretty cool.
I went to that one too. It went over my head real quick, but you still glean something out of it, you know.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, there's Willem.
Willem. Yeah. Pretty cool. Okay. Very neat. All right, we have about 15 minutes left. If anybody has any comments, questions, anything else you want to bring up for this evening's Elmer session, let us know. Just showing my email there. That was good. Let's see. What else did I have here? Didn't have too much more this evening. Let's see. See Marcel join there. Good evening, Marcel. If you want to test anything before the presentation, let us know.
Good evening. Give me just a minute. I'm grabbing one of my props.
Yeah, no problem.
There we go.
You were talking about the off-center fed dipoles, and I've been operating one I've tried different things, but it does okay. It used the G5RV, yep, and probably similar in performance. I don't know.
Okay,
but
yeah.
I use it for 40 and 80, so.
Let's see. Don't have much more this evening, but if anybody else has any other
Got to be some questions out there.
Yeah, I'm sure there are. Yeah.
We could play Stump Fred tonight or something, you know?
Yeah.
I can throw out a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where can I find aluminum tubing to make a shorter antenna, like a 6 or a 10 meter antenna?
I can't think of the name of it, but there's I think it's out around the old Stapleton area. If you look in the, probably Google it like everything else.
Okay.
There's an outfit out there that sells all kinds of aluminum, square stuff, round stuff, but just you Google it, you'll find it. It's, as I recall, it's right off of I-70 out, near Quebec or
Okay.
in that sort of area. So
would just aluminum conduit work?
most conduit is steel.
Oh, okay. Well, I think the conduit I have is aluminum, but I'll need to check.
Very well could be, but most I've run across is steel, and you got different, grades of it, different thicknesses. But I mean, it'd work if you can,
Okay.
but it's going to be heavier, of course.
Yeah, I'm trying to avoid the weight.
Yeah, well, that's aluminum. Yeah.
How about an
I've
old
got
TV antenna?
I've got a what do you call it? The kind of top to my deck is about 10, 12 feet up, and I could just lay something on that if I wanted to.
Yeah, look, maybe Drone's already searched it. He's a good searcher, but it's something like Una something like that. But they'll have all kinds of aluminum.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I just googled aluminum in my zip code, so I don't know. Yeah, I would know. I mean, I'm guessing you'd be able to find scrap aluminum somewhere. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, this is new stuff. This isn't
New. Yeah.
Scrap. Yeah. You didn't come up with anything, huh?
No. 570, I think, in Quebec or several.
Yeah, a week ago I was in Puerto Rico, and I threw away a Yagi antenna that transmitted to GO's satellites. I just didn't want to bring it home.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah.
That and the saltwater air kind of welded a few parts together permanently.
Yeah. Anytime you're dealing with metal parts in an area like that, you'll definitely have some corrosion and things like that over time, for sure. Yeah.
But the food was good.
Yeah, I bet. Very cool. Very cool. Well, we have about 5-10 minutes or so here left. If anybody else has any other last-minute things, let us know. Bring something up, and I forgot what it was here.
Looks like the group we got about 20 so far. Top of the hour, I'll just make an announcement or two, and then we'll jump right into the program.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Do you want me to do a quick screen share check, or?
Yeah, if you'd like to, please. Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. That one there?
Yep, we can see that.
Cool. And I think I can see, yeah, I should be able to watch the chat a little bit at least.
Okay, gotcha.
If people want to put questions there. Do you want me to leave it up or pull it back down?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, you can leave that up. Yep, don't have too much more.
And I'm glad Jeff and I met up last week to rediscuss the time, because time zones are tricky. And since you guys have this pre-meeting as well, we were almost off, which was.
Oh no!
I'm glad we talked. It would have been. I would have shown up 2 hours early, so it was okay.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Not to worry. You giving a talk at this year's Virtual Ham Expo?
Debating it, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure I'm going to have time to put a slide deck together. We've got a local conference, the Baynet Amateur Radio Club, or Baynet Group, is doing their BayCon in February, so I've got a small talk lined up for that.
Okay, cool.
Didn't make it to Pacificon last year. It's a weird year. A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. Gotcha. Very cool.
Yeah. If there's particular topics, I'm always interested in topic ideas, what people think would be great talks. I have my small list, and some of them are great, and some of them I need to spend the time to do the project before I can give a talk on it. Then that's always the problem, is finding the time to do that project.
Yeah. Yeah, anyone in the know? QSO Today Ham Expo, last few years, they've been having Virtual Ham Expo, it seems like twice a year. And call for speakers. We've had plenty of people that gave presentations to this. Give it at the QSO Today Ham Expo. Also give presentations to us. Yeah, if you ever want to give a presentation, this is a great opportunity to do so. So they're calling for speakers for their March 12th and 13th expo. So check that out.
Yeah, it's a really cool conference that Eric put together. Always a challenge to put on a large multi-thousand person event virtually, but it's pretty neat, and they've learned a lot. They've over-indexed in some places, and then they're finding a nice happy medium now. So I think the twice a year is working pretty well for them. But yeah, a lot of really cool talks, really great speakers.
Yeah. I'd imagine putting together a conference like that with that many speakers is definitely a lot of work, and they seem to have done pretty good job of it, and it's worked out pretty well, it seems like.
Yeah, they'd love to do it live, but of course that's gonna just break everything.
Yeah.
and it's global, right? That's the thing I always have to think is so amazing. The technology didn't even exist to do this a while ago. So
exactly.
And a lot of those larger virtual conferencing tools were only just kind of optimized during COVID and really got stress tested. So we broke some of them.
Yeah.
But they found, I think, a solution that works now pretty well. So that's good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you can find, I don't know if they have this intentionally bound, but they've had this up here for a while. They post their videos on Vimeo, so you can go and check out all the talks from pretty much every talk that's ever been given, it seems like, is up here, and even after the fact, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They went back and forth on that for a while, where it was 30 days of access, and then they had platform issues 1 year, so then they gave everyone blanket access for a longer time, and then they posted a bunch of it. That's always tricky, but
yeah.
It is cool, the live aspect though. Like, a lot of people question, like, oh, why do you even bother if it's all pre-recorded? I can just watch it all later. But having it like be an event that people are there, and you do actually have like chat rooms you can hang out with, like the virtual hangout experience is actually pretty cool, and the Q&A with presenters too, right? Like even the talk this evening, I have a recorded version of it, but it's always more fun to do live. It's updated and personalized. I even put your logo on there for you, right? So
exactly. Appreciate that. Exactly. Very cool.
Hopefully I grabbed the right, like, it was a good fun one.
Yeah, you did. Yep.
It's been around a long time.
It reminds me of my electrical engineering department's logo. They just had the 2 lightning bolts. Nice and simple. I think that's a lightning bolt, right? The yellow thing?
Yeah,
right?
One of the members years ago designed that. And that we call it's Sparky. Is a moniker for
Spark gap
that.
transmitter, right?
Yeah, Sparky.
Well, hopefully no Sparkies when you start playing with batteries.
Okay. No, exactly.
Yeah, I've had that happen. I used to do aircraft batteries and had a couple small disasters.
Well, that's fun. Large aircraft, small aircraft?
Large aircraft. Yeah. Boeing 737s, 27s, and
Cool.
MD-80s, Convair 580s. So.
Yeah, the only aircraft battery I worked on was a long time ago as an intern on a little 28-volt lithium battery backup for the flight computers on a massive military drone.
We had those too. These batteries are nickel cadmium at the time, and they put out a tremendous current. So the APU on the 737-200, let's see, this battery is 28 volt, and it was, I was trying to remember, it's been a long time. It was like 22 ampere hour rated, and the APU, the auxiliary engine, if you will, take when you engage the starter, it draw 1500 amps off that 22 ampere. So, but
that's a good, fun starter battery.
Oh boy. Well, we got about 2 minutes or thereabouts, and looks like we got 32 people so far. Depending on the times, and sometimes we'll get up to 60, 70 participants, but this is getting to that time of year, where a lot of things going on, so.
Yeah, no, it's a good showing.
It's usually better.
Hopefully people aren't too shy. That's always the tricky. When the group gets too big, then people don't want to ask questions anymore.
again, thanks everyone for hanging out with the Elmer session, hour long. If you enjoyed that, come hang out Wednesday night, 7:30 on the air. Check out the LearningNet, W0TX.org. My name is Daron, K1DBC. I host that. So thanks again for hanging out here, and we'll get the meeting started here in just a moment.
My cell phone says it's 1859, so that's close enough. So anyway, welcome everybody.